So I'd like to introduce Dr. John Villarella. Please give him a warm welcome.
Well, thank you very much. I've been following these tea parties since they started. And one of the first things I picked up was that they were demonizing people that spoke their mind, who exercised their rights as citizens in a free land. You do not assemble here to preach sedition to the government. In fact, your chief law enforcement officer is here. You come here to display what you feel is right for your country. But when you do it, you're called astroturf. When doctors talk against the plan, they're called malpractice doctors. When you do it and you speak against the plan, you're an evil monger. Well, let me tell you, that's so wrong. Let me go back a little bit in time. In 1777, young guy, 20 years my junior, Thomas Paine. Now, there was a time in our country when the king turned his back on the colony, and no matter what went wrong here, he did not care. He wanted taxes, raw materials, and he really did not listen to his people. And below him, the Parliament did the same thing. Turned the back to the people, and what happened? Thomas Paine wrote a famous book, Common Sense, and that's my motif today. It's common sense, and it was that time in history, 1777, that the match was lit that started the revolution. And I may say this as a physician, many doctors, who are usually conservative people, do not want to be in public to stand the risk of being ostracized, yelled at, or threatened. So physicians have not come up to the plate, nor have they been invited to come up to the plate, and most medians. In fact, they've been put aside. Let me tell you today, the only reason why you're going to see compromise in this health care bill is because of you all. Yeah. Absolutely. If it wasn't for you, people that raised your voice, and really raised your voice, they would have pushed this bill through Congress and the Senate, passed it through without even reading it. Let me have one of those bills there. I worked with Congressman Bartlett advising him. Part of my joy has been working with him and trying to understand two different points of view, and we've come to the center, which is great. I read this bill, so when people tell you things in this bill that do not exist, I actually photocopy parts of that bill, and my medical staff will hand it out to you, because one of the criticisms against you is that you yell, you scream, with no facts, no leadership, no constructive criticism. That is wrong. And for the people of my party on the far left that believe that, guess what? There are Democrats here today that are by your side, standing up with you to say that we want a government of the people, the government we all want. Does it make sense to you that if a person won only 50% of the vote, that you want to pass a health care bill without the other half of the country on you? Former President Clinton said, forget the Republicans. What he also said is forget the doctors, forget the moderate Democrats, just shove it down their throats, and just pass the bill. Well, that's not how it works in America. That doesn't happen in America. And it's for you guys out here, you actually saved the healthcare system, not the docs. So I really thank you so much. So, this is what I do best. I educate. That's my job. I'm president of the Medical Society, and I felt it was my responsibility to come here and in 20 minutes to give you an override of some of the things that you should be concerned about. So you speak with your elected representatives, your friends, your opponents, you can tell them facts. I will give you sections that you can look at. So when you talk to them, they will not call you far-right extremists. Rather, you will be educated people to say, look, this is in the bill, which is good, and there are a lot of things that go not good. So let me take you through this. This is Tom Paine said. He wrote terribly, but he was 37 years of age, and his book started the revolution. And he said in the following minutes of discourse, this is what he said to the king's men: I offer nothing more than simple facts, plain arguments, and common sense. And that's what we're talking about today, common sense. Do you think there's a lot out there, common sense? Do you see doctors out there telling you what their point of view? Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the only thing that I believe in right now is government officials getting between patients and the doctor, insurance companies and the doctor, malpractice lawyers and the doctor. The only thing that stands between you and your doctor is this, ladies and gentlemen, is a stethoscope. That's the only thing that stands between you and your doctor. So let me tell you about the scope of the problem a little bit, real quick. Let me guide you through this. In the beginning, it was 47 million Americans that were uninsured. Well, after his speech to the president, it went down to 30 million. Well, 10 million of these people are uninsured illegal immigrants. That's from the Census Bureau. Look on the censusbureau.com. Now, there are people who actually work and choose not to buy insurance. They may want a BMW, cigarettes, whatever. Let me tell you about the Census Bureau. 8.3 million Americans who earn $50,000 to $75,000 don't buy health insurance. And what it does to you is every time you buy legitimate health insurance, you pay $1,500 every year more. And that's not fair to you. Another 8.7 million earn over $75,000. And then the government accounting office has now calculated that there are 4 million college students who choose not to get insurance. Now, if we look at this rationally, young people think they're immortal. I'm no longer young. I feel quite mortal. But let me tell you, they do get in car accidents. They do break their hips, ice skating. So we should offer them as low-cost, catastrophic insurance for $1,000 a year with a high deductible. You don't need a government option to cover college students. Do you understand me here? It's ludicrous. It's not common sense. The second thing is, we all understand there's a need for reform. We all do. I don't think there's one American here, right or left, center, black or white, rich or poor, that doesn't say this system needs to be fixed. Listen, I deal with insurance companies all the time. They're not nice to deal with. They're not there to make you happy. They're to make a profit. And maybe part of that is always the best thing. But right now, we'd like to offer insurance at an affordable cost to all Americans, legitimate citizens, immigrants have come here legitimately and provide them with care. There's nothing more sad to see someone in who doesn't come here with health insurance and we can't help them. They lose their house, whatever. But let me say this also, that there are no medical emergencies in the United States that go untreated. It is a federal law that you must treat an emergency at all times. If not, I go to jail. So if someone comes to my hospital, I'm a cardiologist, they get the same stent, they get the same bypass, whether you're insured from El Salvador or poor. That is a law that we all do. That's a myth. We also have to get rid of the pre-existing clauses. That is not right. We have to lower premium costs. And Congressman Bartlett and I have talked about this a lot. Have you seen the Gecko with Geico? You ever talking about $600? Well, let me tell you, the president, instead of pushing socialized medicine, he has the power now to regulate insurance companies to lower costs so that these insurance companies can cross state lines and offer you lower cost premiums. Absolutely. Did you notice in Washington, D.C., did anyone notice there, that Congress does not want the public option? Why? I'll tell you why. I'll tell you what's in this volume why they don't want to have it. I'll tell you also that insurance companies right now must be regulated sensibly to make your premiums lower so you can afford it just as much as the government bureaucrats get. And I tell you right now, you pay 40% more as a small business to buy the same policy a bureaucrat gets, a good government worker gets for the federal government in D.C. So I say the president has to listen to everyone. Rather than going to the far left to appease his progressives, has to look in the center. He has to really go back in his heart and say, I stepped over too left. I have to come back to the center. We need healthcare reform for our nation. What he has to do is to have insurance companies compete.